Everyone. Hey, thanks for tuning in, whether you're on the live or a replay, whether you're on Facebook or possibly you're on YouTube. Today, I want to share some, hopefully, some encouraging words, maybe some information that might help you because it really helped me many years ago, and it's continued to help me. Um, Ever since. So anyway, we'll share that. But first, I want to just say that we had a great day this past Sunday in the park. It was great. Had a big turnout. It started off a little cool, but it just the further we went, the more people that came in, and we had plenty of hamburgers and hot dogs, and had to give some away after the event, and just was a good day, good time to get together. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of enjoyed uh, the entire day and just having really a chance to kind of connect with folks, maybe a more relaxed and able to just visit with them a little bit more. And so, anyway, if you missed it, hey, um, we get to do that every week. Um, and We'd like to invite you to come and be with us here at Central Christian Center. By the way, I'm Doug Wilkerson with Central Christian Center and Saturday Night Live Recovery. And by the way, we will not be having our recovery meeting this week, but we will be back the following week. So anyway, today my topic or my title is going to be three musts that can wreck your life. I'm totally serious about this. I have, throughout the years, I've had many people tell me how much this particular information helped them to make some mental adjustments and help them move from dysregulation, emotional dysregulation, into emotional regulation, being able to regulate their life, regulate their emotions, regulate their thoughts, because you have to take care of your thoughts to be able to direct and harness your emotions. And then after you do that, then you have to learn how to allow your emotions to come up and affect you. But that's a different story. Um, this is good information for you. Hopefully, you're able to hear it, grasp it, and apply it, because applying it is so important. Hearing, you must do it, but you have to work on it and integrate it to be able to apply it properly. So, anyway, there are three major irrational beliefs that we're going to be talking about here, and they are toxic beliefs which will sink your life. It'll do it to you. And you'll believe that you'll believe that you're doing the right thing and you're doing it on purpose. But if I can get you to stop and look at it and think about it and maybe go inside and look for the truth, the real truth, not just what you've always done, because oftentimes a lot of us practice lies when we bought into it thinking it was the truth, but it really wasn't. Anyway, the truth is so important, and the only way to eliminate the toxic minefield that most of us are walking in is to know and believe and stand in and on the truth. The truth is the essential thing. And most of us, if not all of us, want to be centered on the truth. And if we can be on the truth, then actually we'll do what the scripture says out of John 8:32. He says that you shall know the truth, and knowing that truth shall make you free. We not only need to know it on the surface level that it's true, but we need to know it inside of ourselves so that we can stand on it. Because when when we oftentimes get focused on where it is that we're going, and we must get focused. There's a big problem with focus nowadays, but to get focused on where we're going, and then stay in the fight, stay engaged, then we're able to do something. Does that make sense? Epictetus said this. I've always enjoyed this statement. He says that we are not disturbed by what has happened to us, but our thoughts about what has happened to us. Okay, let me condense that and say the same thing in a little different way. He said, it's not what happens to us, but how we react to that matters. Okay, it's not what happens to us, but what we think about has happened to us. It's our thought reaction to what has happened to us, or our physical reaction to what happens to us. Oftentimes, have you ever heard the term, and I know you have, overreact? We went too far. We said too much. We acted out because it was a reactive response. And so Epictetus was saying that it's not what happens to us, but it's what we think about what has happened to us. Okay, so important. I remember the first time I heard that, and it was back in I should have thought about this, but it was back in the 70s, probably the middle to the late 70s. My brother Mike and I took a summer psychology class at Pittsburgh College. It's university now, but and Dr. Albert Ellis was teaching it. Of course, I didn't know who he was, but actually he was one of the top 3 or 5 psychologists in the United States at that time. So I was I didn't know it, but I was very privileged. But the fact of it was, I knew after I got in the class that I was very privileged, because his information that he taught on rational and emotive behavior therapy was so important to me. It helped me tremendously how to engage and to actually impact my life. I was able to take the truths and the scriptures and the discipline that I had, and really be able to, in a functioning way, work it into my life. But that's a whole nother story. But there are, what are the 3 main beliefs of rational and emotive behavior therapy, REBT, excuse me. Back when he was teaching, I was thinking he taught RET, but they changed to REBT, the belief or behaviors. And it was 3 types of acceptance. This is what they say, and I pulled this off the internet today. The 3 beliefs that they primarily believe are centered on, and it's number 1 is unconditional self acceptance. Number 2 is unconditional other acceptance, and unconditional life acceptance, which really ties in to the 3 must statements or beliefs that we make to ourselves, or we live by, that actually sabotage or sink our life. But these 3 acceptance, yourself, others, and our life, are very critical to accept them the way they are, which is how I say that's reality. We have to accept reality the way that it is, not the way that we hope it is, or we want it to be, or we wish it would be. We have to accept it the way that it is. And as soon as if we are able to accept the way that it is, then we're able to then affect or impact that reality and have, begin to hopefully shift it into the place that we want it to be. But you can't impact it until you accept it. Not that you have to like it. Yeah, it is the way it is, and then we have to deal with it. So let's go forward. The 3 musts, which is really important, and that is this: the 3 musts that will wreck your life, and it is the first must is this. Okay, this is important. A demand on yourself. That's the first demand. Okay, it's a demand on yourself. All right, and this is the statement you make oftentimes unconsciously, or sometimes you even make it audibly, and that is, I must do well and get approval, or else I am worthless. So you're talking to yourself. You're saying, I must do well and get approval of others, okay, or I'm worthless. And this demand causes anxiety, depression, lack of assertiveness. So we set ourselves up for negative effects if we embrace that belief. And I remember studying this many years ago, and they said that normally individuals have center on one of these as being a primary belief. We probably have a combination of them, but we probably really lean heavily on one. So the first one is about I must do well. It's about me. Number 2, the number 2 must, and it's a demand on others. Okay, the first one is demand on yourself. This is demand on others. You must treat me reasonably, considerably, lovely, or else you are no good. You're awful, bad. Okay, and again, we're talking about you here. The second belief, it's you. It's your fault. The first one is my fault. Second must is your fault. And this must leads to resentment, hostility, and violence. Now, you just think about that in our world today, have a pretty good idea that there's a lot of people stuck in that second must, right? Maybe you too. Just think about it. Just look at it, okay? Number 3, the third must. This demand is on the situation, okay? All right, the first one was about me, I. The second one is about you, all right? And the third one is about the situation or life, the world, everything, okay? All right? Everything. I think you could probably even throw God in there, okay? But life must be fair, easy, and hassle-free, or else it is awful. Okay? The first one is about I have to be a particular way. Second demand is, or must, is that you have to be that way. Okay? And the third is that life has to treat me in a certain way, or it's terrible and awful. Okay? This thinking is associated with hopelessness, procrastination, and addiction. Okay? Hopelessness leads to nihilism. Procrastination is withdrawing, hiding out, isolation. I think I already said isolation. Addiction is a form of escape. And by the way, probably everybody that's listened to me is addicted in one way or another. We tie addiction oftentimes to drugs and alcohol, sometimes pornography or drug or gambling, but there's cutting, there's just obsessive compulsive behaviors. Okay, mental disorders. So, all right. The first must is I must do well. Second one is you have to be nice to me. You have to treat me right. And the third one is life, the world, everything has to go my way, or it's awful. It's terrible. So those three musts will wreck your life. The reason why is because they're irrational. They're not based on truth. Okay, remember the truths that REBT is focused on is unconditional acceptance of ourselves, of you, and the world. Because reality is the way that it is, and that I have to accept it the way that it is, even with all the bad things in it. But if I accept it instead of hiding or trying to escape from it or avoiding it or procrastinating, then I'm focused and I'm in the fight, so to speak. And you can't win a fight if you're not willing to stay with it. And life is, in case you didn't know it, it is a fight. And if you don't contend, then you don't win. So here's some of the solutions here. All right, we're gonna change those irrational beliefs. Now, how do you change those irrational beliefs? Look at them. You know the truth; it's in you. If you really want to know the truth, and the truth will set you free, look and ask yourself: is that what I believe? What's my evidence on whichever belief is the one that's predominant? That is predominant in your life, and ask, do I really believe what that must statement is saying? What's my evidence? What's the truth? Okay, and then we begin to shift our thinking. It's not easy, but it is healthy. 3 preferences. Okay, these are things that we prefer. Okay, in our life. All right. Not that we must have them, we're not demanding them, but these are our preferences. Okay? And that we need to reinforce these preferences because we've practiced the demands so much, or those irrational beliefs, that we have to reinforce our preferences. And we know that they're true, our preferences, because we know they're lined up with truth, and we want truth in our life. Because if we live our life based on truth, life is better. Now, it's not always easy, but it's better. Okay? Preference number 1. I strongly prefer to do well and to get approval, but even if I fail, I will accept myself fully. Okay? Even if I fail, what I do and who I am, they're 2 different things. My doings and my being. That breath of God, that Holy Spirit being, my heart and my mind, that is something that God has given me, and I've surrendered that to Him. And I strongly prefer you to treat. I strongly prefer to do well. I do. I prefer that, and I want everyone's approval. But see, I don't have to have everyone's approval. There was a day in my life that I wanted everyone's approval, but then at the same time, I rejected everybody because I knew I couldn't get their approval. So I rejected them, because I rejected me. We'll have to go on that story another time, but I want to hit this first preference. Number 1, I strongly prefer to do well and get approval, but even if I fail, I will accept myself fully. Preference number 2. I strongly prefer that you treat me reasonably, kind, lovingly. But since I don't run the universe, okay, I'm not God, okay, and it's a part of your humanness, or all of our humanness, and it's natural to err or make mistakes, to be flawed human beings, right? I then can't control you. So I can't control you. You have your own choices. God has given you right to make your choices. And if they're stupid choices, God has given you that right too. Now, I may not prefer that for you, but for me, I strongly prefer that you treat me right. And in the old days, you try to make people treat you right, but the fact of it is, I can't control anybody, because I don't run the universe. Now, I can withdraw my presence from you, because if you are going to abuse me, I don't have to live with a terrorist. I don't have to be involved with a terrorist. I can disconnect. That makes sense, right? Those are called healthy boundaries. Number 3, third preference. I strongly prefer that life be fair, easy, and hassle-free. And it is very frustrating that it's not, because life isn't hassle-free, right? It isn't. It takes effort all the way through, right? But I can bear frustration and still have a considerable, enjoyable life. Yes, amen. That's right. I can, and I will. How about you? Okay. Assuming that you'll take these suggestions, assuming that you will let these into your heart and into your brain, and they will greatly reduce your anxiety, your hostility, your depression, your addictions. After that, what remains? What remains after all that's gone? Without the torment and the tormentors, then you can experience a loving and more involving and more joyful life. Wouldn't you agree? So take a look at this. Check it out. Are you going to live your life in the land of the must, the have to have, the demands? Okay, how's that ever worked out for you, having all those demands? You can demand people that you have power over, but the fact of it is, you don't have their hearts and you don't have their minds, and as soon as they can, you don't have their flesh, their attention, their presence either. Isn't that true? The 3 preferences will stabilize your life. Know the truth, and the truth will make you, set you, cause you to be free. May the Lord bless you, keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. Hey, we're coming up to holiday time here. We're going to have Memorial Day Monday. Memorial Day means way more to me now than it used to. So remember those that have gone on. And thank God for our law enforcement and other first responders and military. We are appreciative for those that have given of their lives to serve others. So until next time, please make healthy choices. Good day.